This is the North End. This is the North End.
Hello and welcome, North Enders. This is the 5 things we learned from our win against West Ham. I'm here with Mr. Adam Clark. Good to see you, buddy. Looking forward to this chat. This is going to be fun to talk about because it's it's positive, positive 2 times in a row, which we'll get to specifically. Let's start the 5 things. You go first, buddy.
Sure thing. Just want to say just briefly though before I start that it's great to be back on the North End and great to be doing like a 5 things we learned of it again. Haven't done this in a while. So first point is that Son can't be dropped. Now some people might be watching this might be thinking, okay, well yeah, that's no brainer. But I want to recently there's been a lot of negative press surrounding Son. He's been inconsistent, he's been off form, and those things have been true to a certain extent. But yesterday he showed with an absolute masterclass of a performance why he cannot be dropped and why he's such a vital part of the squad and vital to Harry Kane as well. I mean, that partnership has been given new life under Antonio Conte, and they are both working well in this system. They are finding each other in places where, honestly, you wouldn't expect them to find each other with their long passes and just their foresight and everything. It's been fantastic. He was first in every major stat yesterday between touches on the ball, goal scored, shots on target, you name it. Son was bossing it. And Kane was having a good game as well, even though he didn't score. But Son just was on a different level yesterday, which is a nice change from the usual, Kane being the best player on the pitch thing that's been happening recently. But you know what? A positive change never hurt anyone. However, I think he does need to find a bit more consistency. Why isn't he playing like this every, or at least most weeks? Because, it's a bit daft to ask him to play like this every week because he's human at the end of the day. But as long as he doesn't get injured and he can find that consistency, I think he's going to be a great player towards the end of the season, and he'll be on form that he was on, similar to last season. Because if even as bad as last season was, and I think I've already said this in a video already, he, along with Kane, were just a class above the rest, not just in the squad, but in the entire Premier League. I mean, they are officially now the best strike partnership in the Premier League, in Premier League history, for a reason. They scored the most goals between the two of them in their partnership for a reason, because they're both good players. And Son showed yesterday why he is a good player. Yeah. And I think we do need to get a replacement for him though in the summer.
Well, somebody for him to compete with, I think, and maybe that we've got Bergwijn for that. Just to add to it, I think the key thing about this performance was his response, and we saw his response to the crowd when he was shushing him, basically suggesting, because in the media and in social media in particular, I think a lot of fans were getting a little bit down on Son because he hadn't really been the level he's been at, that we know he can play at. He's, his boots were failing him a little bit in the previous matches where he was slipping all over the pitch and we weren't quite sure what was happening. And I think this was a good response from him. I think that was the key thing for me, is that he responded to negativity and to negative criticism, and came out and like you said, had a blinder. He was absolutely fantastic. Great point from Son. Can't be dropped at this point. I think that was a big part of the conversation too. Is Son should get dropped, and we had it ourselves on our channel on Tottenham on Tour. We discussed that, and turns out we were wrong, and he proved us wrong. So well done, Sonny. Point number 2, Bentancur is ready for the Premier League, and he's only been here for 2 months. I think this is a really important point to note. We've talked about many times on our own channel, many times on this channel, on the North End, in regards to players coming from other leagues and being able to immediately conform and perform in the league with little experience in the Premier League. The Premier League's a difficult league. It's faster. It's more aggressive. You don't have any time on the ball. That's probably the one thing Bentancur has struggled with a little bit, is his lack of understanding that he doesn't have a heck of a lot of time on the ball. But yesterday he made 105 touches, 96 passes with a 94.8% pass accuracy, completely bossed the midfield against Declan Rice, England international, who I think a lot of people were saying that battle in the midfield was going to be something that we would want to see, and we'd be curious to see how Rice is going to manage it, because Rice how Bentancur is going to manage it. Rice is a great player, but I mean, Bentancur outshining Winks comfortably. Really good partnership with Højbjerg. The two of them look very, very comfortable together. And of course, we've got Skip to come back hopefully after the international break, and we'll have those three in the midfield good solid rotation, and I think that rotation is going to be massive. So yeah, wonderful performance from Bentancur, and he's just blown. I think he's blown everybody away who's a Spurs fan.
Yeah, totally agree. And also, when Skip inevitably does return from injury, which I hope will be as soon as possible, that'll add some much needed depth to the squad as well. Because now, like you said, we can do rotation between him, Højbjerg, and Bentancur. Maybe even Winks might, once in a while.
Well, hopefully Winks is
be in
learning.
there as well. Yeah. I hope he's taking notes. Like I don't even care if he has to do it the old-fashioned way, bring a notepad into the sub bench and just be looking up and taking down on things all the time. And as long as he's learning, then fine. I mean, three good players to teach him stuff. It'll surely rub off on him eventually.
Should do, right?
So yeah, should do.
So what's number 3, brother?
Number 3 is the mentality of the squad is changing for the better. Now we're after winning 2 games in a row. Therefore, we have finally broken our 15-game, win-loss form that was just plaguing us for all that time and cost us valuable points and, of course, unfortunately, valuable cup competitions. But look, nothing we can do about it now or in the past. And one thing I've noticed as well, even in, like you said, Brian, you've said this actually multiple times, since United, our performances have been great to fantastic, even though we haven't won all those games. Last 3 games in a row, especially in the Premier League, we've been great, and we've been consistently great, whether we've won or lost. That's a good sign. And the team seems to have a lot of confidence as well. And like finally, Conte's system, it seems like they can play in it now.
Playing with some swagger, it's really nice to watch. I think the key point on this too is that what Antonio Conte said after the game is that he sees them playing the way he wants to, and that he's enjoying watching them play football, and that he wants them to enjoy playing football. He wants them to enjoy playing football so he can watch it. I think that's a mentality thing too, right? Is enjoying your football. If you go out there and you enjoy yourself and you play with swagger and you boss teams the way we did against West Ham, it's an incredible thing to watch. And we're like you said, mentality in this squad is starting to come to fruition, like we've all been hoping for.
Yeah. Now, whether it's enough to carry us to top 4 is another story, but. And of course, like it's not the finished article, but I would think anyone can tell that. I think, especially after the international break, when we come back, and if we have the same mentality, we can definitely challenge for top 4. There is no reason why we can't. I mean, this is a winning mentality that Conte has because he has won so many trophies just in the past 5+ years alone, not even 10 years. I mean, like if you're telling me that is not a mentality that could win trophies and achieve big things with this Tottenham squad, then sorry, I just don't believe you're watching the same sport as me even. Yeah. So this mentality change is huge, and if it keeps going, it's going to produce the results we want eventually.
I'll let you roll with this, but we're now playing like a proper team of players.
Yep, playing like a proper team of players, an actual unit of 11 great players that all want to work together, that trust each other, and who basically trust each other, not just 11 talented individuals forced into the same team. We're seeing this so many times now in these games, especially, like I said on previous point, last 3 games, whether we're playing out from the back or on the counter attack, we are bossing it. Both the counter attack and playing out from the back very often actually.
The passing is really tight, like it's like the one touch movement from the back it's just incredible to watch.
And every so often I've noticed as well, that one player will get the ball and then all of a sudden he will rapidly switch it up. And do you know what's even better? It's not the fact that they're rapidly switching it up. The fact that the player on the receiving end of, let's say, that short pass or that quick pass, that long pass, or even that run he'll know what that player, the player passing the ball to him is doing and trust that player, and then he can add to the attack. And, that is what has been producing our goals. Even if a player has to stop, he will look around and the other players will actually go to him now, or at least be in a position where he can pass the ball. And doesn't matter how long it takes, the team will eventually get to the other team's box. And the opposing teams can't really seem to keep up with it for something. Like I said, I think about a month ago, that we'd become too predictable. Conte has probably seen that, and the players, to be fair to them, have also seen that and said, right, we need to refine this system. We need to change it up, even if it's just small, minor changes, and find a way to make the system work where opposing teams can't catch up with us. And they seem to have done that. They seem to have found that system.
Yeah,
And of
I
course,
think to add
yeah,
to that, Adam, is that there's a tightness about the team when
yeah,
they move. They're moving in a unit. It's not like you said, one individual player looking for the ball and trying to like get the
mhm,
ball to Kane and Son, and like we were under Mourinho. As you're going to get to here, there's a lot of great partnerships on the pitch, and they all seem to have a good sense of who their partner is and what there's the expectation of that player is next to them and what they're going to do and what they should
yeah.
do if the other player makes a different move. But let's talk a little bit about those relationships, because I think they're key to the reason why this connectivity is happening with Spurs right now.
I mean, where to start? I mean, if you compare this to where we were at the start of the season, it's like a different team, and it's like a different club even. That we're almost spoiled for choice with the great partnerships we have in our squad. I'm just gonna name three here, just as example off the top of my head. You have Kane and Son, the most obvious one
Obvious,
up
yeah,
front.
it's hard to
You
say it.
have
Yeah,
an underrated one, in my opinion, in Doherty and Kulusevski on the right wing.
that's a good shout.
Yeah, and also you have Romero and Dyer in the defence, and of course, like we mentioned earlier, Bentancur and Højbjerg for the time being, at least in the midfield, with Skip no doubt contributing to that when he comes back from injury. So with those partnerships, and when you properly think of the way they've been playing recently, it's no surprise as to why we've been getting the wins we have, why we've been putting in the performances on the pitch like we've seen against the teams, like even like during the win loss form when we were smashing up Leeds and Everton. Yes, they're both crap clubs, but at the same time we still had to play relatively well and put the goals in the back of the net. And I think we did, I mean, I think was it 9 goals we scored in total, or if you
Yeah,
add up the totals from Everton and Leeds. So those partnerships, like you said, they're essential to the team.
come to fruition. I
And
think.
yeah,
I think Conte has gotten them playing in a way that they understand each other's roles in those partnership, and then
mhm,
how that affects the rest of the team, and then the whole team in that. There's a lot of talk. There's been a lot of discussion about the system that Spurs play, the 3-4-3, and that should
yeah,
we play should we be playing a 3-5-2? It has he has proven us wrong. Conte, as you'd expect from the quality manager that he is, has proven us wrong as to what we should expect in the system that he's stuck with, because he's stuck with the system and it's working, and we're seeing the benefits of it from these partnerships, and of course from the talisman that is Harry Kane, who you noted here. Kane has provided more assists than any other player in the league at 19, which is ridiculous because he started really poorly this season,
yeah,
and he's also got, I think he's how many goals is he on? 12 goals I think now as well. So he's right there. Obviously he's probably not going to catch Salah unless he goes on a full on
like 3 goals
run.
every game or something.
Yeah, a mad run, which he's capable of, but we'll see what happens. But the way the team's playing, looking fantastic. And to get to point number 5, the way the team's playing, and I think this is something we've been back and forth about, and I don't know if you and I agree completely, and I know that Brian Daigle doesn't totally agree either, because we've had a bit of an argument about it. We have a chance at top 4, and yes, it's a small one. Now, I think I'm going to argue again that I don't think it's that small. I mean, we're 3 points behind our rival that we have to play still. That's the game in hand. We win that game in hand, then we're equal on points. So we have just as much of a chance as they do if we beat them at home, which we have done previously. Statistically speaking, I think that is not necessarily a small chance. I think it's actually a reasonably good chance. Of course, come back. This does require a healthy squad to come back from international break, and hopefully that's the case. Anything to add on the top before we sign it off?
Look, listen,
Top 4?
yes, I don't want to turn this into an entire argument, but Arsenal are looking pretty good at the minute, and I hate to say it.
I know, I agree. They are.
I'm
They are
just after
looking. It's
eating.
true. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just after eating, and I can feel my food making a comeback of my system. But I mean, is what it is. And the other teams around us, like United, are on paper at least are good, but they're as inconsistent as we are, even though
Yeah.
they bet us. But yet, here's the thing: they bet us, and yet just one victory, then like a week later, we're 1 point ahead of them. So I mean, that shows you the type of team they are at the minute. But honestly, I'm not sure if we can actually beat Arsenal. I mean, we're 3 whole points. That's an entire win's worth behind them. Yeah,
But
I know.
if we beat them in that
yeah,
North
I
London
was getting
derby,
onto that. Yeah,
then
if we beat them in the derby, then yeah, fair enough. Like we will go ahead, and hell, if we beat them in the derby, and that means we go fourth or something, then I will 100% say, yeah, top 4 is on. But I'm skeptical for the time being because we have to.
Yeah, you're a Spurs fan, Adam. I mean, this is how we are, right?
Yeah.
we assume skepticism before going into anything. I am skeptical in almost every other part of my life except for football, because it's the one time I get to be emotional and it doesn't matter. So I often allow myself to enjoy it. But yeah, thanks for everybody. This has been 5 things we learned from our win. Excuse me, I'm used to saying defeat. From our win against West Ham, 3-1 win against West Ham at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Adam, thanks for being here with me, and we'll see you again next time. Cheers. Bye.
One Spurs.
This is the North End. This is the North